Welcome back to Lasso TV. I'm Taylor Cannon.
And I'm Eamon Sugarman.
And this week we have lots of stuff to talk about.
So buckle up, Mustangs.
First, the Mustang Rodeo is this Friday. The rodeo is an opportunity for students to try all sorts of new activities and experiences. And if you didn't sign up for the therapy dogs in time, you're lost. The best part about the rodeo is that you get to pick your own activity. I signed up for the refugee experience.
Well, Taylor, that doesn't sound really fun.
Stop horsing around. Of course it's going to be a great time.
Speaking of horses, class registration is coming up.
That doesn't have any
Class registration
classes.
is your chance to pick your classes for next year, this year, in the middle of the year to prepare for your classes next year.
What's hidden GM?
What?
Well, this video by Lasso TV's Ian Leach and Nick Leach is all about the hidden places inside George Mason.
George Mason High School is not a very new school, as many of you may know. The school was constructed in 1952. That is just 7 years after World War II. Due to the school's age, there must be many secrets that have since been covered up by the fabric of time. Let's dive right in and see what history and other neat things we can learn to better understand our little old school. I head out to a few places in the school that many of you students and staff probably have never been. These places being the school's 2 boiler rooms and the old automotive class, which is now the maintenance facility located under the A-Wing. In this episode, we start off in the boiler room near the High C class and near the FCC TV studio. This boiler room is one of the oldest standing places in the school. We asked Mr. Fernandez how the boilers and the overall system works. Let's have a quick listen.
This is a steam boiler. You won't see this too much now in the future because of the way that machinery has advanced with energy efficiency. Steam boilers are only used primarily now in large commercial applications. Hospitals will use them, maybe high pressure steam, or in some factories will use them. But in this applications for schools, you'll find them in older schools, but not, yes, like this one, but not in the new schools. They can be replaced with high efficiency hot water heaters, or boilers, hot water boilers I should say.
Like what we have at home?
Along the same lines, but larger.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, not as large as these.
No.
These could be replaced with the smaller versions.
Believe it or not, there are more things in a boiler room than just boilers. There are also things like air compressors, large red wrenches, and even washing machines. After the boiler room, we head on down to the old automotive class, which is now the facility for our school's maintenance crew. Let's take a look.
Tech, it was the trades too, because a lot of this machinery was, because you had a variety of the trades. They had sheet metal, because that's a drop shear for cutting metal. Cuts metal. You can get a whole sheet like that in there. Oh, wow. So you had sheet metal, fabrication, bending, did drill presses.
Lots of old equipment like drill presses I realize are like all kind of a tealish color. I don't know why.
Yeah, that was to distinguish it from the other manufacturers. Powermatic was their color. They still, they still do that. Black & Decker, you see the color scheme on them, and rigid, so that you know just by looking, or if they're green color, Hitachi, whatever, it's
Steel is orange.
yeah. It's a way to trademark it, your equipment. A lot of this you'll also see up in John Ballou's shop. Probably looks familiar. He's taken the equipment that we don't use down here and put it to better use upstairs.
Sadly, that brings this episode of Hidden GM to an abrupt end. Mr. Fernandez was called to action due to a suspicious smell, so we had to end filming sooner than we anticipated. So that brings this episode of Hidden GM to a close. Expect to learn more about our school's long-lost secrets on our next episode of Hidden GM, coming soon.
Wow, now that was hidden.
I've never even heard of that.
Who has? Hey Taylor, do you have any talents?
No, that's why I'm not in Mr. Mason.
Speaking of tomorrow night, we will find out who this year's Mr. and Mrs. Mason are. It's a yearly display of Mustang's talent and creativity. It's a battle to become king and queen of the annual Memorial Day Parade. Plus, all the proceeds go to charity.
Well, now we've seen what the students can do, but what do you know about the teachers here at George Mason?
I'm here with Mr. Soko, and we're going to ask him a couple questions. So, Mr. Soko, what do you like to do in your free time?
I have 2 kids at home, so free time is a luxury. But, watch movies, video games, anything I can squeeze in.
All right. What kind of student were you in high school?
My high school was large, had about 700 kids graduate in my senior class. And I was, I think I finished number 11, so I was a pretty nerdy kid in all the right ways with my nerdy friends and, taking physics and all those kinds of things.
Was high school a fun experience?
Oh yeah, high school was great. Had a great time, lots of friends, played tennis, did all sorts of things I liked doing, and wouldn't go back if you paid me.
If you weren't a teacher, Mr. Soko, what kind of profession would you follow?
I would probably do something with my hands, like a mechanic or a farmer or something like that.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Soko.
No problem, thank you.
Wow, now that was a really well-edited intro.
It was okay. Hey, Eamon, do you remember that mandatory pep rally last week that everybody went to?
I sure do, and I bet that everyone watching it remembers the video too.
Well, Eliza Gibb was on the floor and caught a lot of the action. That was a lot of fun.
It sure was, and what a great way to kick off our second semester.
Well, actually, there's nothing good about the second semester.
Oh, you. The boys and girls basketball team both had fantastic seasons and begin playoffs soon. The members of the swim and wrestling teams are going on to states, and the spring sports are just beginning.
Don't forget about our other sports. Speech and debate are on to regionals, and they're on a roll.
More like an honor roll.
That's all the time we have for today.
See you next week, Mustangs.